Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bergen Stages, the entertainment magazine here at Bergen Community College. I'm Jim Bumgardner, your host, and I'd like to welcome two people from the upcoming production of George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion that Bergen Stages will be doing in the month of April. Welcome to the show, Katie Stevens and Kevin Maphis.
Thanks for having us.
It's so great to have you guys here. So just to kind of, you guys are alumnus.
Yes.
So you went to school here, but just to kind of get your journey of where we are today, Katie, where did you go to high school?
I went to Ramsey High School in Ramsey, New Jersey, class of '06.
Did you do theater while you were at Ramsey?
Yes.
What shows did you do there? Because some of our audience might have seen you in.
I can't remember. What were the shows? I remember the musicals we did. Godspell, Guys and Dolls, Dames at Sea.
Oh, good. Wow, you did the big ones.
Those were fun. Yeah.
All were great.
Yeah.
Good. And then you finished there and went right into theater, or?
I decided, because in high school I was always also big with visual arts. So after high school I just decided I'll go to art school. So I intended to study illustration. Realized I didn't like it. A semester into it, it just wasn't for me. So I left art school, and that's when I came to Bergen. And at Bergen is when I really decided that I wanted to start acting as my career.
Oh, cool. And we'll get to your Bergen story in just a minute. So let's, Kevin, where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in Hawthorne. It was nice, although the theater program there was just coming back. So my freshman year we had nothing, and then my sophomore year we had Our Town. They had just brought back the drama theater. Everybody was very excited.
Nice.
And I got to play George Gibbs in that, which was
good.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it was
have
very easy. We had like 2 ladders and 2 trellises, and boom, done. And
All in a
tables.
set.
We
And
needed
tables.
the tables,
Right.
of course. But then we did, not My Fair Lady, what was it? The non-musical version of Hello, Dolly? The Matchmaker. We did the Matchmaker, and I had a very small role in that, which was, disheartening, but hey, it was fun. And I got 3 good scenes that were very, slapstick, physical comedy, which was nice. And then I got to play my senior year Elwood P. Dowd in Harvey, which of course is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Great
so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did you catch they revived it on Broadway?
Yeah, I didn't catch it. They did it with Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, who is, he's an amazing performer.
He really
so
is. Yeah.
I'm sure he did a fantastic
He really
job.
did. He made it his own.
Yeah.
I mean, we think of Jimmy Stewart every time we think of that particular show,
Right.
but he really made it his own, which was kind of fun with it. And then you guys both came to Bergen.
Yes.
Along your way. Was your first show here the one you did together? I know that you were.
That was my first show.
Your first show.
Yeah.
And what was your first show?
Mine was Bury the Dead. I was soldier number 2, so I got to dig a ditch and talk about how itchy I was, and then scratch for 3 scenes later and say not another word. But I got to sing too, which is great, because then when we did a musical, people were like, "Well, he can sing, so that's good." Yeah, so that was fun.
Bury the Dead was the first one,
Right.
and then.
Then
Ernest.
Importance of being earnest. And what were your roles in that? That was a nice
Cecily.
role for you. That was your first.
That was the first one
show.
here. Yeah.
A
That
great
was
show.
exciting.
It was very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oscar Wilde is just such a delightful show. And you were in that as well.
I was her butler.
You were her butler.
I was Merriman.
We've come a long way.
Oh yeah.
And then the next one was you did together again.
Was it?
No,
was it
you
Godspell?
did Forum, I think, after.
I might have done that before, actually.
You did that right after.
Oh, was it right
Ernest.
after? So yeah, that was,
Yeah.
and that was the first musical I got to do.
So let's just kind of go this way. What were the shows that you did here? If you
It
can
was
remember?
Bury the Dead.
Bury the Dead.
And then it was, I guess, Ernest, and then it was Forum, which I had never heard of before until that, which was good. It was great.
Tartuffe.
Tartuffe.
All right.
Godspell.
Godspell.
Godspell. Oh my God, is that it?
Was that-
It seems like there's something else on there too. I
Right.
just can't even think of what it is.
It was
but-
a lot.
But I got there.
I got a lot of great theater
At
experience
least once
here.
a year, if not
Yeah.
once a semester, you were involved
Absolutely.
in something. And Katie, do you remember what
Yeah.
yours were?
I started with The Importance of Being Earnest.
Right.
And then I think The Firebugs was the
Fire
next
Rock.
one.
Right.
And then it was Godspell. And then the musical comedy Murders of 1940.
Right. And so you're both
Yeah.
song and dance people as well. So you act. Pygmalion, of course, is the non-musical version. We know My Fair Lady a little bit later on, Lerner and Lowe, but this is the non-musical version of it. But you both are musical theater people.
Right.
So what was your training like while you were here at the college? How did this prepare you to do the shows? And
I actually didn't take any theater classes here at Bergen. I was just a liberal arts major. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Cool.
So any preparation was just, I just learned on the stage.
Kind of like on-the-job training.
Yeah.
It's like, we're here, this is what you're doing,
Yeah.
and your directors would mentor you through
They helped
whatever
me,
you
and then
learned.
all the actors, just watching them, seeing what they're doing exactly, that really helped.
And I think that's what you got to do. I think a
Yeah.
lot of it is just go do it.
Practice it, yeah, go right for it.
Yeah, there's people there to keep an eye on you,
Yeah.
and you do learn from the other actors on stage. Hopefully that they're good actors that
Yeah.
you're learning from, but yeah. What training did you get here, Ken?
Here, the first acting class I took was with Mary Clifford. It was a night class, got done at 10 o'clock at
Basic
night. So it was
acting.
very exciting, you know, oh, I'm on college late at night. And it's where I met probably a lot of actors that I've worked with again and again, some here, some in New York, like Sergio and Brian. You know, we did the whole Super Happy Improv troupe.
Right.
And yeah, it was mostly a class for improv comedy, improv comedy, skits, and just little nuances.
Just the basic acting, just kind
Yeah.
of the techniques that you need to go into it.
Yeah, and then there was a movement class. I forget the name of the professor, but she was wonderful.
Demetz.
Yes,
Demetz,
that's exactly what it was. And we learned a little bit of everything. It was stage combat, a little bit of tap, a little bit of Greek theater movement.
See what you were missing? All
Yeah,
this
you
kind of
missed
stuff?
I know. That class I really wanted to take.
It was good. It was good. And other than that, I took some vocal classes with Mrs. Eastwood. Which was fantastic, and you know she's worked on some of the musicals.
Right.
I think all the musicals actually
That
I
you
was here
did,
with.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So she's wonderful, and she really helped my voice come along a lot.
Great
which
trainer.
is
I mean,
great.
she's a great classical trainer, but also knows her Broadway material
Yeah.
too. Good. And then you graduated here, so you were a theater major.
Yeah.
And you were general arts.
Yeah, liberal arts major, yeah.
liberal arts major. And then where did you go? You finished here, your degree from here.
I went to Ramapo, and that's where I declared a theater major with an acting concentration.
And this you did in about 2.5 years. Did you complete about 2?
Yeah, about 2 years over there.
Yeah, a couple of years, which is great. I mean, that you go in, you come in
Yeah.
at hopefully a junior level or a second year sophomore level, and then just take
Yeah.
theater classes.
That's all, yeah, so that was really great.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people, you know, just to push the community college idea is that we get you a little basic stuff here while you're at the community college, and you get all those general ed courses, you know, those courses that like history and the sciences and all that
Yeah.
taken care of here, so that when you go to your next school, you have 2 years of doing what you're going to be doing. What
I
you're gonna
enjoyed
major in.
going to school, so I didn't mind it.
And a great program over at Ramapo.
Yeah,
And I know
it's
they
great.
love and miss you. Already I've heard from Peter Campbell about that. And Kevin, what did you do?
When I first went to Montclair, I didn't get there in the fall. I got there in the spring, and they said I couldn't audition for the acting programs there, which I found out was a lie. So I wasted a year doing English literature, which is basically you read books and then you make wild assumptions on them. And if they make a little sense, you're a genius.
You do great.
Which I hated.
So
And
you were
I
a
was very
genius for a
cynical
year.
towards it. Yeah. So as soon as I found, you know, I said, I got to get out of this. I was in tears sometimes because I would get D's on papers because I would use stuff I learned here about theater and like diving into characters, and they're like, well, that's not on the page, you can't use it.
Gotcha.
So I was all over the place. So I went to the counselor who does theater there, and they're like, you could have joined up right now. So they signed me up. I got all that. I auditioned. I got in, and then I started meeting my peers and being happy again, which was great. We did You're in Town,
Right.
which was a lot of fun. I got to play Lock, Stock in that, which
A
was
whole
one of my
musical about
which was my dream role
Urine.
in that one. Yeah. So that was fun. And then, you know, I got to work with, the way they do it at Montclair is you stick with the same core group of people as
Right.
you go up, and they were great people. I got lucky. Some
core.
of the people
Good.
are scary. But yeah, we did a lot of great work. We created this Don Juan show from scratch. We had someone writing it. We studied the character. We discussed the character. Everything from sexual deviancy to just control, and like we talked about things like Twilight and the 50 Shades of Grey books, because you know it's sort of a Don Juan-esque.
It totally
character.
is, yeah. It's so funny, I was just teaching it in class.
yeah.
Tirso de Molina, who wrote the original El Burlador de Sevilla, which was the Don Juan.
And it's great too, because you know we had to, you know, it was what I like to call performance art type theater, where it was you would watch it and it was a little tricky to follow, but oh my God, when you put it all together, it was amazing. And we had bullfighting type dancing and I can't remember the dance stuff, flamenco dancing, and a lot of just body moving all over the place.
It was really cool.
It was.
You saw it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, nice, nice. And so when you finally left, you got you were in the BA program
Right.
In theater,
Mm-hmm.
and so you have a Bachelor of Arts degree with theater acting. Is it specific acting, or is it just a general theater major?
It's a bachelor in the arts, but I think there's a focus in acting. I think is what they call it.
They make it that. Yeah, the degree doesn't probably
Right.
say it on itself,
No,
but you know
probably
what you did as well.
Yeah.
And you had a Bachelor of Arts. It's not a fine arts. I know that they
Yeah,
have a
it's
fine arts at
They have a fine arts, which is
Montclair.
like
They don't at
yeah.
Ramapo. They
No.
don't have the BFA. And what kind of courses were you taking at Ramapo?
I was taking, like, I can't remember the names of the courses.
That's okay. Just it's,
Courses where it was like theater history, so you'd read and study scripts all the way from ancient Greece up to today, you know,
Nice.
things like that. But then also the courses, basic acting, then intermediate acting, scene studies, and then other things like makeup and movement. So it was a well-rounded
yeah.
acting program.
So outside of school, because you both have now graduated, congratulations, it is all done, the graduation's all done. You did do some community stuff as well? You haven't done any community
I
theater?
haven't outside of it yet.
Outside of the school, but you have a special thing you do in the summer months.
I'm actually an actor for the New York Renaissance Fair. I've been there 4 years now. This year will be my 5th if I get in. I'm sure they're waiting.
They're waiting to hear.
I've got to play a lot of fun characters. The great thing about it is when you first start out, if you don't get a character, which they don't trust the newbies to do, you get to create one. So it helped me, you know, get my creative juices flowing. I created a town thief named Robert Swindler.
Which you had through all that improv that you
Yeah,
had worked
exactly.
on, that you could
It was
create this
basically-
character and make him as whole as you were saying.
Yeah.
Your literature professor didn't understand when you're
Right.
creating a character and giving it all this background. That's an important
Yeah.
part of it.
And it was great
And
because
so that's what you had done.
it felt like I had a huge head start because you know they would do improv classes there to get people ready and I was just one of the people that they didn't need to watch so much, you know. So it was good.
And then
I
you
got to help
slowly
out,
developed,
too.
and now you're one of the merry men.
I'm Friar Tuck.
Friar Tuck.
I'm skinny Friar Tuck.
Skinny, that's okay, you know. I think that's great. So,
Yeah.
and that's what you hope to go back, or you wouldn't know if it's going to be Friar Tuck.
I think what it is if they call me to come back, it's as Friar Tuck, but I can say I'd also like to audition for other roles, and if they see something that I would be more well suited for, or if they find someone else who would be more suited for Friar Tuck, like I don't know, like a heavier guy.
Right.
which they
Then maybe
always
you'll
look
go
for.
into another role.
Then yeah,
that
they'll
you're
have me
doing.
play you know, one of the sheriff's guards or something.
And
like
you
that.
used a lot of the stage combat that you had
Yes.
learned, I'm sure, being able to
Yeah, it's one of the most interesting and fun parts of working there is the fact that they can just throw you a sword and be like, all right, we're going to run this scene. And just the sound of the metal on metal is just fantastic. And the audiences love it.
eat it up. They
Yeah.
eat it up. And they costume themselves going there too, right?
Yeah, a lot of people go there and you know, they'll call themselves Rennies and stuff. And they do. They'll dress up as literally almost anything. On one day we'll have like every Doctor Who doctor come in as a group with their companions and their sonic screwdrivers.
Seriously?
Yeah, and then we'll have like the Star Trek people and the Stormtrooper people. And
Oh, I thought they would at least come as Renaissance people.
mostly
all the time.
do, but
okay.
it's
But
where
they kind of
fantasy
go,
rules, so
"Whoa,
they can just
fantasy,
whatever they
okay."
want.
What the computer's done, huh? So now we're here and we're getting ready for Pygmalion.
Yes.
So we're going to take a short break right now, but we'll come back and kind of talk to you about the characters you're playing, because I think they're both brilliant characters, but uniquely different in ages between the two of
Right.
you. So hang in there. We'll get to Pygmalion. So come right back. We just have a little break here, and we're going to talk with Kevin and Katie a little bit about Pygmalion.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't, because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Hi, and welcome back to Bergen Stages. I'm Jim Bumgardner, your host, and today we have two delightful guests, two of my favorite actors, alumnus to Bergen Community College, Katie Stevens and Kevin Maphis. And we've been talking a little bit about your backgrounds and what got you to where you were. There was one thing that we talked about during the break about the Super Happy Improv Troupe.
Right.
And that was brought together by a bunch of actors here.
Right, yeah, it was. It was Brian Aria and Dave Lee's, I believe, their idea at the beginning, and Dave Lee totally just took it and ran with it, and he got everybody together. We rehearsed. He had auditions for new people coming in.
And you had a venue in the city. You were actually
at the Broadway
at
Comedy
the
Club.
Wonderful Broadway Comedy Club, and you did it. I mean, this is exactly what everybody wants to do in comedy, and
it was amazing.
It's tough. And it was about a 45-minute show, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think we were only supposed to have a half hour,
but
sometimes the comedian
45.
after us would drop out, and they're like, "You have an extra 15 minutes."
Keep going.
Thank you.
It was great. It was a great experience for what you do in theater. So now let's kind of turn our little spotlight here to what's going on right now. We have the wonderful, beautiful production by George Bernard Shaw called Pygmalion, and that's coming up in a few weeks. But why don't we talk about the role? Katie, tell us a little bit about the wonderful character you get to play.
I'm playing Eliza Doolittle. She just,
Tell me all about her,
Okay, she's starts off as this Cockney flower girl, and she goes through this kind of transformation through the show. She kind of sees herself as a lady finally at the end. She gets transformed by Professor Higgins into speaking like a lady. And
she goes there for a reason. She finds out in that very first scene that he is a dialect coach, and she knows to better herself.
Right.
Doesn't she want to shop?
She wants to work in a flower shop.
She doesn't want to be just a girl on the street selling it.
Right, she's just selling flowers on the street, but yeah, after she hears a conversation he's having, that he can make her into a duchess, he says. So she overhears that and his address, so she goes to his house the next day, shows up, and she's there for lessons. Then from then on.
Then he just says, "Well, if we're going to do it, you're moving in."
Yes, and so she moves right in, and there's this whole bet going on between Professor Higgins and his new friend Pickering, who also is a dialect, not as an expert as Higgins, but he's also interested
Different
in
specialized area, that he goes into. Right.
And so the two of them are having fun, sort of transforming this young girl into a beautiful lady.
But they almost forget
they do. And
the beautiful lady in all of this.
Right. She kind of just becomes this object that they're dealing with the whole time, and she feels that way. She has a moment in the second act, or it's the whole second act really, where she sees that she's not viewed as a person anymore. She's viewed as this object
of a bet.
And that's all she is to them. And so she takes off, and she.
We can give more away, but we won't get there yet. But Kevin, you play an interesting part in this because you guys are pretty close to the same age, right? And who do you play in Pygmalion?
I'm Eliza's dad. I'm Alfred Doolittle.
Alfred Doolittle.
And he's basically the way I approach the character is he's a used car salesman, con man type deal. And what he does is he enjoys just getting money from people and instead of working for it. He's happy with that, though. You know, he
does work. He is a laborer.
He's a dustman,
right?
And he usually works as a savvy, which is like it's a navvy. It's a navvy as a excavation digging type deal profession. But it's hard work. So you know he likes the dustman. It's easy. You just collect people's dust and you move on and ask for tips. But for the most part, you know, he'll ask, you know, his daughter for some money, or he goes to Professor Higgins with his whole plan.
Well, that's interesting because it happens in the first act, the second scene of the first act, when Eliza has committed to staying with Higgins, and then you get wind of this going on. And what is your reaction when you come into this house?
My reaction is, you know, I have a plan that I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to make him feel like he'll give me money for my daughter. Because
it's not like you're trying to marry her off.
Right, no, it's basically just like, look, you want her, all right, you just give me some money for her, you can have her, hey, all right, wonderful. I don't want her anyway. But, you know, he's smart, Higgins, and he's like,
I'll give her back.
Go ahead, have her back. And I'm like, whoa. So now I have to go to plan B, which is basically, you know, I try to just buddy up and reason with him, like, you know you want her,
right,
and stuff like that.
Right.
And you know, he uses that familiarity to just give him an edge, and you know, he finally agrees to it. And it's funny how they're from both, him and Higgins are from both very different walks of life, and they have a lot of the same ideas about, you know, women and happiness, which is why I think Higgins ultimately just gives him the £5 note and says, "You be on your way."
Get out of here. Here, I bought her. Go. Yeah. You guys don't really have much scene time together, do you? Does Eliza and father-daughter
We
really
meet
have?
up for a little bit in both acts.
She pretty much ignores me in the first scene, like, you know, she.
What are you doing here? What, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, she comments like.
Because you weren't a good father.
No, there's
He's lousy.
He's lousy.
There's talk of the fact that I hit her, and I'm just not a nice person to her because she weighs him down. She weighs, you know, Doolittle down. He wants to
Cramping
be
his style.
by his own,
Yeah.
and just live for him. And now he has a daughter who gets in the way of that, which is also why
Where's the mother in all of this? Do we know?
I don't have a mother.
her mother died.
Oh, it did, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and
This is in the story. This is something that you've created. It's in the story.
it's in the story.
Okay, I
yeah.
couldn't remember.
And I think this is stepmom 6. So I'm just like this womanizer, and he doesn't marry any of the women he's with. He didn't even marry Eliza's mom. We find out, and it's part of that whole, you know, lifestyle he has, which is, you know, I live for myself. I don't want to be tied down by family or relatives and all that. I want to just get my money for the day, get drunk for the night, wake up, do it all over again. So, yeah.
Wow. And so you do meet up with him, but you kind of ignore him until the second act when he comes back to announce
That he is getting married.
he is getting married.
Yay.
And funds have become available, right? He gets
Yes,
comes into some
there's,
money.
not to give too much away, but there's this whole turn of events where I end up getting a very large sum of money per year, and it just ruins the whole lifestyle that he's had, and now he's afraid that he's just going to have to provide for everybody.
Exactly.
and
They're
actually
gonna-
have
everybody's going to be milking
friends
off.
and
Yeah,
relatives,
yeah. Puts them at a different level in society too.
Yeah, he talks a lot about middle class morality and how dumb it is. Which is he describes it as it's living for others. That's middle class morality, and there's no happiness in it. It's a dog's life, he says. And now he's stuck in the middle class, and now he has to learn proper English from Higgins
Right.
and pay Higgins, and the doctors, now that he has money, wants to actually take care of him. It's just everything
Changes his life.
He has to deal with himself and other people now. They all want to ask him for money, and it's just Yeah.
It's a great turn.
The
I mean, it's a
tables
great
are turned.
twist.
Yeah.
It totally, and it makes like karma.
Yeah.
You know, it finally gets him. So this was written in 1912, 1913. Incredible era in England. Do you think there was a morality lesson that Shaw was trying to tell us? What was? I mean, it's based, of course, on a mythological story. Do you guys know the myth? Did you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the myth of Pygmalion?
It's this artist who creates a sculpture and he falls in love with it, and so the gods make her come to life. So there's
And they live happily ever
Yes.
after, which is a little different than what Shaw had
Very
done with this.
different,
But it's the
yes.
fact is that you are the sculpture that they're chiseling.
Right.
But the thing is that once you've come to life, what to do with you then?
Right.
Right.
Can you go back to being a flower girl?
No, and I start breaking down because that's the reason I go to him is because I want to become a lady in a flower shop. But then I realized to myself sort of that he's really created an artificial lady, sort of just from the outside. I appear as a lady and I can speak like a lady, but there's nothing that really makes me.
A lady.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I am a lady in the fact that I have now self-respect, you know, but I even say to Higgins and Pickering once we're at a ball when we're testing me out, I say there's nothing that can make me the same as these people,
Right.
you know.
It's clear to you. It just becomes apparent to you,
Right.
and that's where this whole unwinding of Eliza happens. Is after that ball, she's like, "I see where I am, and I'm not even that flower shop woman anymore. I'm not
Right.
even there."
I'm sort of in this limbo. I don't know where I belong.
So, is there a moral lesson? I mean, we get what you go through, your character goes through, but is there a lesson in the play? Do you think is it trying to tell us something about society and what we do to people?
I feel what I get out of it is that, you know, society always pushes its own values and morals on other people, and you can do one of two things. It's either you change yourself to fit that society, or you be yourself and like, you know, Doolittle, he tries to be happy with that. Society in the end gets the better of him.
Right.
Whereas, you know, she wanted to better herself and found out that the grass isn't greener as she thought it was.
But there is a pasture. It isn't all gone,
Right.
but it's just the pasture she didn't go in yet, but she does find a direction, which is, you know, an incredibly hopeful thing for her, so she doesn't.
Yeah, and Eliza, I think, also learns that it's also in the way you treat others makes all the difference, because she says, you know, being a lady she says it's all in the way you're treated, because she tells Pickering, I'll always be a lady to you, because that's the way you treat me.
Yep.
And Higgins, I'll never be a lady to him, because he doesn't view me as a lady, never
You're the
treats
sculpture
me. Exactly.
that he didn't fall in love with. He just
Right.
created the sculpture. Do you think he learns anything in all this?
Higgins?
Yeah. By the end of it, do you think you taught him a lesson? Does the
think-
student teach the teacher?
I think by the end, it's starting to sink in, but I think Higgins is a very stubborn person, and he'll never let on. I don't think to anyone else, really, that he's learned.
Interesting. So now you're in this rehearsal process. You're continuing. Where are you? What are you guys doing now? What part in this process are you?
We're in the middle of the second act.
So you're still
we're
blocking.
Yeah.
And blocking means putting it up on its feet. The director's telling you where. And Ken Bonifants is directing,
Yes.
who you guys have worked with before. Delightful, wonderful director. Great sense of humor. So that's been fun. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And then you've also got a dear friend of mine, Dustin Charles, helping with dialect.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he's
How's that
Helps
been?
so much.
It does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Have you gotten the emails from him?
Yes.
Oh, they're so thorough, which is I love
Yes.
about him, because I work
Very
professionally with
helpful.
him, and it's been so great having him come in and work with you, because this is all about language.
Yes.
We can't do this play without focusing on,
Right.
and you speak Cockney. You're
yeah.
deep guttural.
Deep guttural, very just low class, right in the dirt.
And then you have to go through the transition. So you come from
Right.
that, I don't even understand a word she's saying,
Right.
to,
Yeah, so I do that, and then I also do the higher British.
yes, the whole, the RP, so it's just such a fun part of this whole process. And then you'll get into, we just got a short time, then we'll start putting it up on its feet and
Yep.
running it.
Less
and
than a month.
I'm
is it-
hoping
that's gonna happen.
we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
some scenery up there. And
The
stuff.
set is going to be gorgeous.
Yeah.
Jared Rutherford, a good friend of mine, is designing this. And I know that you've seen the model and some of the pictures
Yeah.
there, so it's going to be
Pictures look
Looks
gorgeous.
beautiful, yeah.
And there's so many different scenes, so it's great using the whole facilities, the fly space and flying scenery in and out, which is wonderful to use that theater at its full capacity. We
Yeah.
don't get to do that a lot, so it's great when it has come along to have all this flying scenery. And then Marie Natali,
Yeah.
our costume designer, and she's been fitting you guys already. Have you?
Yeah, I actually got to try on both outfits. You know, the one where I'm the dustman, and the one where I actually get some money and
Come back later and.
Oh my God, it looks fantastic.
Oh, good, good.
It's like
Have you
nice
looked at any
stripes
Yeah,
of
and
that?
stuff.
so far I've tried on my flower girl outfit.
Okay, so you've seen that, and I've seen that too. We
Yes.
take the picture, and
So
that looks great.
that's what I've seen
So we
so
need to see
far.
the transition. She's not
Yeah.
ready to show you the transition
I guess
yet.
not. I'm excited.
Guys, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
I also just want to talk, John Ehrenberg will be doing the lighting for this. We've got Patrick Ryan designing the sound, and there's a lot of sound being used in this particular production there. So it's a great tech staff coming together, and on the screen now is how to get tickets. It's our poster that talks about the show, the ticket information coming up April 12th.
Yeah.
So it's totally right around the corner,
Yeah.
but you guys will be ready. It's such a spectacular show. Kevin, Katie, I cannot thank you much. This half hour just flies by, and we have so much more to talk about. But break a leg with the show. We will be watching, and we hope that you and the audience come to see our production of Pygmalion opening April 12th. And thanks for tuning in to Bergen Stages.